Hello guys, so this is part 2 of the Q&A. The first one's up here or up here, I don't know which one it is. I'm guessing here, probably here though. I'll link it there so you can go check it out. But I'm going to carry on with the questions. Okay, so this girl said, every time I set an essay, no matter how long I spend perfecting it, I'm too scared to hand it in. I'll have it completed and checked it over and then intentionally leave it at home or bring it up to lesson, but then crumple up the paper or scribble out the words when the teacher comes to collect it. It probably sounds pathetic, but good grades are the only stable part of my identity, so getting a bad mark would destroy any remaining self-worth. What should I do? I keep missing lessons to avoid getting told off for not doing the homework, and I'm just failing more and more behind. I'm falling more and more behind. Whoa. So this hit me because this was literally me. In year 12, the first essay I ever gave in was my exam. That's why I got a C. I wouldn't let anyone like read my work. I wouldn't let anyone like analyze anything that I've done because I was too scared, like you said, about failing and then being like, well, I have nothing left then. I don't even know how to kind of respond to this because I never kind of stopped doing it because I dropped out before I could. Not saying do that, by the way. All I can say is that I'm really sorry that you're going through it. My best advice would be talk to the teachers, because I'm pretty sure they are aware that something is not right if this is the kind of behaviour that you're exhibiting. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just, you know, it's kind of, I don't want to say problematic in a bad way, but I'm also like, it's not normal, do you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that, but I literally went through the same thing, but they would pick up on that as being kind of like warning signs for something. I would say talk to your teachers and just be like, this is what's going on, and I literally can't have you reading my work because I feel too bad. Also for me, it was like, I freaking loved my teachers. If you can't tell, I was like fucking attached to all of them. Well, most of them. Actually, I only like 2. But you know, I really valued them and I valued what they thought of me. So the idea that if I handed in something wrong and they noticed, I'd be like, well, that's fucking shit, isn't it? Because I want them to think I was stupid. Even though I know that I wasn't, but I was struggling so hard that I couldn't formulate a good enough essay for them to read. So yeah, I would just say let your teachers know, which is really difficult, but it will help you in the long run, because for me it was like I didn't do that and my teachers were fully aware and they gave me so many opportunities to tell them. In like, I remember my teacher was like, you're in such a trough right now, and I was like, tell me about it. I'm in a trough and the pig's fucking eating me. Or even if you just go up to them and be like, sir or miss, just be like, sir, I need to talk to you. Miss, can I have a word? And even at that point, if you don't go into much detail, they're fully aware that something's not right. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so someone asked me, what inspired you to start recovery? Okay, so I would say that when I was, how old was I? Maybe 17? Yeah, when I was 17, that's when I tried to recover. I would say that I tried to recover since going into hospital the first time, because that was the time I was like forced into recovery, if that makes sense. I had to recover, but I didn't recover because I didn't want to. What inspired me to recover was in the May after I was in a coma. They were like, my mum and dad had enough, and like they'd had enough before, but this time they were like, you're gonna die, like you're literally gonna die. And part of me really wanted that. Part of me was just like so lost that I didn't know what to do. So what inspired me to recover from the start was my parents and the people around me. I realised how selfish I was being, and yeah, I don't know, that time in my life is so blurry. Like, I remember it, but I also don't. Like, I remember it as if it would happen to my sister, not me. So I would say I started to recover for other people at the start, and that's not the best thing to do, but it's also not the worst, because if you're recovering for someone else, you're still trying, and eventually once you get to a better point, that's when you can start recovering for yourself. So that's what I literally remember being like, was like, I'm not recovering for me, I'm recovering for my parents. And then it got to the point where I felt better and I was like, Nah, I'm doing this for me now, bitches. This is for me. How do you deal with everyday challenges as well as your mental health? Oh, okay. I don't know. That's very hard because it's unpredictable. Like, for example, 2 weeks ago I was ill, like physically ill, and I hadn't planned to be physically ill, and it stressed me out so much because I'd planned to do loads of things on my time off work when I had a few holidays, but I was physically ill, and that made my mental health like deteriorate just because I was physically ill and I couldn't get out of bed, and it stressed me out so much. You don't plan things like everyday challenges, so it becomes difficult. How do you handle it? You have to be nice to yourself. You have to put yourself first, and that's like the biggest thing I can say to someone in recovery, which was another person's question. You have to put yourself first. If you're in school and you're getting stressed, or you're in work or uni, stresses are gonna happen. Like, you can't avoid them, they're gonna be there. You have to accept the challenge, and you also have to accept yourself. So I accept that I struggle under stress, like massively. Stress is like my biggest trigger ever. And I have to accept that I can't put myself under too much stress, and if a lot of stress comes on me, I have to then accept that it is what it is, basically, if that makes sense. And that's really, really hard. I would also say a problem shared is a problem halved. I believe in that massively. If you are stressed about something, either tell someone or get someone who can help you with it. Even sometimes, like, I notice a lot, and Pip will vouch for this as well, I get so stressed in my mind. I would just get overwhelmed by everything, and then the tiniest little thing will set me off, and I'll be like, that's it, fucking get me off, because I can't do it. And then I'll talk to Pip for like an hour on FaceTime, and I'll be like, I'm okay, like, I feel okay now. And she'll be like, yeah, that's just because you're talking to me. And I'm like, yes, it is. But also it's because I've spoke to you and you've kind of rationalised me. I think rationalisation is like the best thing. So yeah, just keep it in mind, and I really hope that whatever you're stressing with is going okay. How do you cope after therapy sessions when it's completely fucks your mood over and you're just not in a good place? Girl, tell me about it. I used to have this therapy called psychotherapy, which fucking, I would get out there more suicidal than I ever went in. It was horrible because I was literally like, fuck my fucking life, I hate it. How do you get over it? You have to even decide whether it's worth it or not. It's very normal to come out of therapy like I do now. Sometimes I come out of therapy and I've had the biggest cry ever, and I do spend a lot of my therapy sessions just crying or being emotional or stroppy, whatever. It's kind of my place where I can vent, but I know that it's helpful in the long run. When I was having psychotherapy, not last Christmas, the Christmas before, it wasn't worth it, and it actually made me so much more ill because of it. So you have to decide, is this therapy working for me? And if it's not, you are so entitled to change. If it's not the therapy that's working for you, but like the therapist, again, so entitled to change, because you don't have to do anything, and if it's not working for you, it's not working for you. That's totally fine. Figure out whether it's worth it, and if it is worth it and you're still being like fucked with moods, etc., say to your therapist like, babe, can we not talk about deep shit today because I'm just not in the mood and I can't cope with it. That's what I do. I'm like, babe, I don't call her babe either. I'm just like, girl, I'm not in the mood to talk about deep shit today. Can we just cut it off? Like, can we talk about something a bit light? I just can't deal with it. And then she'll normally be like, but why can't you deal with it? And I'll be like, okay, we can talk about that. I'll just say, why can't I deal a bit about it? I won't say about what is actually going on. Do you know what I mean? That was really weird. But yeah, just kind of like figure out if it's worth it, and if it is, then just talk to your therapist. Like, literally, I feel like the message of this whole video is you need to be honest with people, and that's really, really hard, but it works. Someone said, did anyone change their behaviour towards you when they found out you had mental health, and if so, how did you deal with it? Also, someone said, does your friends think your mental health is a problem? And she didn't mean it offensively. Don't worry, I don't take that offensively at all. Is it a problem? I mean, probably. I don't know, they haven't really told me. My friends are like the best people in the world, and I'm so lucky to have them like fully. They haven't changed about me at all. It's like literally they're so good. Was I a problem? I mean, I changed a lot when I was ill, so yes, but also I feel like I changed right when I was 15, 16, but also that was the time when everyone else was changing. Everyone was in distress, so I was just like slotted in. But yeah, I mean, I probably did. They probably were concerned. We were young as well, so they probably didn't know what to do. Now, is mental health a problem? I don't think so. I think maybe it's a problem, but they are so incredible about it that I would never say that they've treated me as a problem at all, and I've been really, really lucky. I have mentioned that obviously I've lost friends, and now it's kind of like I was so resentful of them for so long, but I understand. Being friends with someone with like mental health problems is difficult, and if your way of keeping yourself well is by distancing, then I don't think that's a bad thing. It's really hard, but do I resent her? No. Do I understand? Yes. Do I wish that it didn't happen? No, because I know now that I have people around me who can cope, and nothing bad for that person. It's just like my friends around me now, they just treat me as normal. They never change their behaviors. People adapt. That's the biggest thing you have to remember, is people adapt. And think about it, is if your friend was in your situation, would you hate them? No. That's like a big thing. And also, guys, I don't want to say this in a mean way, but you are not the center of other people's worlds, and that can be like taken in a really really bad way, but I want you to think of that as like the most positive thing ever. It's like, how can I describe it? It's like, okay, this is how I can describe it. When you're in school, and remember like when your best friend was off being sick, you'd think about it for like 20 minutes, and maybe it would crop up in the day like, oh, I wish so-and-so was here so I could speak to them. But like 95% of that day you weren't fixated on the fact they weren't there. You just adapted. They weren't there, so you sit with someone else, you talk to someone else. It's just, that's what it is. It's just, people adapt, and it's okay if you're struggling to like talk to your friends, etc. If they're your real friends, they will stick with you. Could you give some people some advice on self-help? I think it's super important to believe in yourself, that you'll get better. I don't think I could have gotten over my obsessive compulsive disorder without having faith in myself. I think a lot of people need to know the importance of that. Wow. I get a lot of questions of people in the darkest times. And when I get a question when I get a message like that, I'm like, you're so right. Like, literally, it's so important to realise that I tell you to go and get help, because for me, it was like I wasn't in the place at the time when I could do it for myself. But I also want you to remember that you're so strong. Like, humans are strong. We are strong. We have faith in us. We have hope. And like this person said, who also, I just want to say, like, thank you so much for your message. I'm going to say your name, Karis. I hope you don't mind me saying your name. I'll message you to see if you mind. But Karis, like, you're so right. Like, you don't always have to go to counsellors, etc. to recover. People recover from, you know, eating disorders, anxiety, and that all by themselves. And you do that by having faith in yourself. And that's the most important thing ever, is to have faith and realise that you can do it. Even if it's for like the tiniest bit of the day, write it down. Like what I used to do, right? I'm going to see if I've got my book. I don't actually like reading this book because it's really, really sad. Okay, so I just found this letter I have from a girl I was in hospital with. Oh, homie, which is what we used to call each other. When I get out, you give me strength to go on. Now is your time to shine, homies for life. Love you so much, bestie. That was with a girl I was in hospital with. Anyway, like I was saying, I have this diary, 25th of May 2016, so you know, they're a long time ago, and I used to write in it, you know, all the time, really sad stuff. But then I would get a tiny bit of hope, because I'd write in this all the time, and then on the 28th of April 2016 I put turning point, and I wrote myself a message about how I can get through it. So I basically put, what's it say? I will survive and be the one who's stronger. What song is that? I don't know, that's a song anyway. Oh my god, I literally haven't read this in so long, but I remembered that I'd wrote it. This is it. No more self-harm, no more headbang. This is recovery. No one will recover for me. I am in control. I am stronger than this. If I carry on, this will kill me, but that won't happen. Future Marie. Make me emotional. I put future Marie. When you've lost hope and the darkness is trying to suffocate you, just remember, you are strong and listen to your wisdom. That was always the quote that got me through things. A psychiatrist told me to listen to my wisdom, and I'm very much a internal person, and I do believe that we as humans are connected to the world and the universe around us, so being told to listen to my wisdom just brings something inside me, which is like we are connected to the universe around us, and we always know what's right and wrong, even in the darkest times. Even when we're most irrational, we still know. I don't think I was very lucid when I was writing this either, because it doesn't really make sense, but it says it's going to be harder, so hard, but you're harder. You can do this. Look into the mirror and tell yourself that this can be better. You are not your illness, and I love you. Never give up. Cool kids can't die. There is always hope. So yeah, but, oh my god, this has made me emotional, but that's the kind of thing I would do to keep myself going, is that amidst like all the negative, horrible diary entries I wrote something positive. So yeah, that's what I would say. Karis, thank you so much, because you've really reminded me about how important our own self-worth is in recovery. So if I've opened your question, I haven't replied straight away, I'll reply later, but I'll just put like a heart to say that I've read it, but I'm reading it out now, so I can't reply. How do you stick to DBT? Like, I find it so hard. Obviously it's helpful, but I was wondering if you had any tips. Okay, I'm gonna do a full video on DBT, because I'm like you, I've come to such a stalemate in DBT. I'm like, oh my god, I've got therapy, like I'm really not enjoying it. So I'm going to talk you through what I'm doing at the moment in another video. Okay, someone else said, what do you do when you're feeling down to pick yourself up a bit? Okay, so if I'm feeling down, the biggest thing I've done, which DBT has told me, is I try and figure out why I'm feeling this way without being like intrusive on myself, if that makes sense. So a lot of the time when I'm feeling down, it will be because something had happened that day. For example, I don't know, I'm really tired. There's like vulnerability factors. I'm tired, I'm on my period, like, you know, and so I try to figure it out, and then I would kind of cater what I do towards that. So most of the time I'll go and have a shower, like really clean myself, take off all the makeup, and like look after myself. So when I come out, I make sure that I moisturize and like do my skincare routine. I get myself a cup of tea, I get my meds ready for when I want to go to bed, and I sit in bed with a blanket. I literally sit here with my blanket and my dressing gown and my hot water bottle, and I'll sit and I'll just watch YouTube, or I will read my book. But my favourite thing to do is I like to get pictures of everything. So all around my room I have pictures. You can't see, like all up here, up there, yeah, all over there. You've seen them ones before. But I get pictures, or I get quotes, and I like to, you know, like reinvent them, write them down on my wall, and I can be kind of artistic or whatever, but that's always been my outlet. Like as a child, I would, how says this, right? As a child, I would have Saturday off, and then my friends would like call my home phone and be like, hi, does Marie want to come out today? And I was like, hey, like, do you want to come around my house and pay spies? And I'd be like, no, mum, just say that I can't do it. And I would sit in my room and I would listen to a Jacqueline Wilson audiobook, and I would just create shit, and I would just draw for ages. Or like when I was in hospital, my favourite thing to do was do the colouring books. So I have the Joanna Basford Enchanted Forest. This was my favourite one. This was like the first one I did, like when I wouldn't leave hospital, my bedroom in hospital, and I just sat and did this for like 3 days non-stop. I think in my giveaway I'm going to give away one of these books because I love doing it, but this was like one of the things, this was like my favourite one I did. I don't know why I'm showing you this, but like I literally just sit and like colour and really like experiment on different things, and that was my favourite thing to do. Like if I just put a film on and just colour, or like a documentary, that's like normally my favourite, to just put a documentary on, just colour. It's my favourite thing to do. So that's all the questions I have for today. Like I've literally been filming for an hour and a half. Amy's gonna come in. What?
You look nice.
Oh, lovely though. Sorry, what?
Yeah, shut up. I've cleaned all downstairs.
Have you hoovered?
No, you need to.
Yeah.
I've done the dishes. I've put all of his toys away. I've brought all my stuff up.
So I'll
can
hoover.
you just hoover? Thank you. I've done everything else.
So guys, that is all the questions I'm going to answer for today. I've literally been filming for like an hour and a half. So this will probably be in 2 halves because otherwise it'll be like a fucking film. I'm going to jot down some of the questions you've asked me though. I'm trying to get through all the messages, but I've got quite a few to go through, so I'm really sorry if I haven't replied straight away. But yeah, I will jot them down so that I can answer them in a future one. And if you have any like urgent questions, comment them down below because I will reply to them straight away. And yeah, that is my video. So I hope you have a good day and I shall see you soon. Bye. I love you. I love you guys. Bye.
Bye.